Hey guys. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the wash of the metal. So all the metallics that I just painted, I'm going to go back over those with a Bad Dab Black, or no, Devlin Mud, I'm sorry. So basically I'll just cover those over pretty liberally with the wash, get a decent drop on the brush and just kind of spread it around and let it settle into the recesses, and I also let a little bit of it overlap onto the red, and what it does is it kind of creates a nice shadow and also helps transition between the two colors. So if you have a line that's not quite as straight, or a section that's not blended very well, or if you have a place where two colors meet fairly abruptly, it kind of helps to so it's kind of nice. Like I said in the last video, with the metallics I usually like to use the wash to bring the color down, bring the shine down a bit, so that they're not quite so bright. To me it doesn't look as realistic. So, like I said, just applying it pretty liberally to all the parts, allowing it to settle in, and sometimes I'll coax it when it's not sitting in a recess correctly. I'll sort of move the brush around and try to get a drop to settle into a line or accent. So I'm putting it back in the gun there. By putting the wash in where there's a lot of detail, when you've done the silver, it actually causes the detail to stand out a bit more. So it actually looks really, if you're doing a lot of metallic work, adding the wash really helps. So, at least in my opinion. Plus with metal it helps to give it sort of a worn look, sort of a used look, so it doesn't look so polished. So I'm just having a look, making sure I didn't miss anything. I'll add a little bit to the place where the gold or copper there meets the gun, so it helps transition that a little bit better. So once I'm satisfied that I've pretty much covered everything, I'll let this dry, and then I'll move on to cleanup stage. So actually no, forgive me, what I do here is use a thin light dry brush of the same metallic, the bolt metal. So what I'm trying to do is just lightly go over the edges after I've dulled it, to just bring out the high points. So it'll be dark in the recesses, but there will be little highlights at the parts that stand out. So again, it just adds a little more to the model. Seems a little more realistic, in my opinion. So I'll just do that pretty much to all the metallics. I might go a little heavier where they're at the edges or the corners, or like here on the backpack where there's a high point, place that might get more wear and tear. I'll add the silver, or add the bolt metal, and what I'm doing there is just kind of trying to blend the regular bolt metal into the darkened bolt metal so it gives it that feel like, you know, maybe it's been brushed against something, or so yeah, gives it a little bit of realism, I guess. Okay, so now comes the cleanup part. And this is a voiceover for any of you guys who haven't already figured that out. Initially when I was painting, I was listening to music and I just made a mistake, so it's kind of one of those things. I got a little heavy-handed with the black, so now I have to go back and clean that up. But anyway, while I was recording this, I was listening to music and the kids were playing, and there was a lot going on in the background, so rather than try and talk over all that, I figured I would just let them have fun, and then just kind of voice over after, kind of explain what I'm doing. So it's a little less spontaneous, but at least you guys don't have to listen to all the background noise. But anyway, so here all I'm doing is going back with the Chaos Black, and I'm trying to clean up the lines, like the lip of the shoulder pad. I'm just going in and cleaning that up so that there's no bleached bone riding up the side of the shoulder pad. And here I'm darkening the vents. So really during the cleanup phase, it's just kind of, you take one color and carefully go back and like where I dry brushed or blended. I guess really it was dry brushing, it wasn't blending. When I dry brushed the lighter shade of red to bring up the detail in the model, of course some of it got into the recesses of the joints, so what I'll do is take the Chaos Black and just go back over those spots. So yeah, so I'll get all the joints, and any part that basically has red on it, or where I've overbrushed or got a little heavy-handed. So and depending on how I don't know how careful you are, how much you care about going back to do this step, it can take quite a while. And then of course, like I showed you earlier, there are the mistakes that you make during cleanup that require further cleanup. So you know, if you're like me, you can end up doing this for far too long. A lot of times I just have to say, screw it, you know, it's a mistake, just leave it. Like the bit on the shoulder pad where I messed up, technically I could leave that. It's not horrible, it's just a little blotch, but I could probably cover it when I do the weathering on the shoulder pads. But I do believe at some point I'm going to go back, and probably in this video, it's a pretty quick touch-up. Before you do any blending on the shoulder pad, you just go back over it with a little bleach bone. So I usually try to account for this, the cleanup time. Anyway, sorry about getting off camera there, guys. Sometimes you get a little into it. Anyway, looks like I'm coming up on 10 minutes, so I will continue the rest of this in the next part. Thanks for watching, guys.